Hey everybody, Pastor Schultz, Our Redeemer Lutheran Church here in the Pastor's Study, coming across something in our epistle reading this Sunday. I'm just so excited I have to tell you about it because I'm not going to get to preach on it. I'm going to preach on the gospel text this Sunday. But this is really, really great. So take a look at this. I'm in Hebrews chapter 9, verses 11 through 15, and the reading goes through verse 15, but I'm going to show you 15 and a little bit after that here. So hang tight with me as we look at this together. It says, therefore, Jesus, is the mediator of a new covenant. Okay, so it's just been talking about how Jesus is greater than the first tabernacle. He's greater than the sacrifices that were done there before the Ark of the Covenant, that Jesus' sacrifices is far and away beyond, much greater than it. And so when we come here, he says, therefore, he is the mediator of a new covenant. And the word that we're focusing on, you can see I have it highlighted for you, is covenant. The Greek word for covenant is diatheke. And let's see. Oh man, I messed it up. There we go. So diatheke. And I pulled this word out because I want you to be aware of this as we're reading through this. Diatheke, we're going to use this IGEL here, is a disposition, a will, testament, and arrangement between a covenant. You can see all of these pretty much agree with what's being said here. But I think this idea of a will and testament is helpful for us as we think of it because there's a difference between those things. And so let's go back here. A will and testament, covenant, we can think of all these words together. So he's the mediator of a new diatheke, so that those who are called may receive the promised eternal inheritance, since a death has occurred that redeems them from the transgressions committed under the first diatheke. For where a diatheke is involved, the death of the one who made it must be established. For a diatheke takes effect only at death, since it is not in force as long as the one who made it is alive. Therefore, not even the first, and actually here you can see it's not highlighted. The word diatheke doesn't show up, but it's referring to it. So that's okay. Therefore, not even the first was inaugurated without blood. For when every commandment of the law had been declared by Moses to all the people, he took the blood of the calves and the goats with water and scarlet wool and hyssop and sprinkled both of the book itself and all the people, saying, "This is the blood of the diatheke that God commanded for you." And in the same way, he sprinkled with blood both the tent and all the vessels in worship. Indeed, under the law, almost everything was purified with blood. And without the shedding of blood, there is no forgiveness of sins. And so then this becomes really, I think, where the rubber hits the road, at least for me. The reason why it really clicked with me is because a couple weeks ago, as we were celebrating the Lord's Supper, I used words just a little bit differently than what I've done in the past. And I've got it here on the screen for you, too. From the words of institution, I'm just using Matthew 6 here for our example, but we could look at more than Matthew 6, and maybe we will here in just a second. But Jesus says, "Take, eat, this is my body, and drink of it all of you, for this is my blood of the diatheke, which is poured out for many for the forgiveness of sins." And we can see here with this little footnote, I guess maybe if I click on it, no, you can't even see it then. It's the word "new" is inserted in many of manuscripts, and it's some of the language that we're probably used to. But drink of it, all of you, for this is the blood of the diatheke. And so when we read this, we look at this, we have to think, okay, should it be covenant or should it be will? Or should it be testament? And so as we look at these things, it's important to distinguish what's the difference. A covenant is like a treaty, a pact between two entities, and while both these entities exist, or until one of them nullifies the treaty, it exists and exists between them. If one of them dies, then the treaty no longer stands. And a will is different than that. A will and testament or testimony is going to be different than that, because a testament is something that you do especially for when one of you dies. And so we look here and we look at the words of institution, and Jesus is establishing a testament, something that is enforced when he dies. And if we go back to Hebrews, this especially becomes clear, that when Jesus dies on the cross, something amazing happens, that his testimony, his testament, his last will and testament found in the Lord's Supper takes effect. And the effect of this will and testament is the Lord's Supper is connected with the forgiveness of sins. That this is something that is not just mere symbology, but has legal binding on those who believe these words for the forgiveness of sins. And so it's just a really exciting thing, and it's something I'm planning on continuing doing as we celebrate the Lord's Supper together, is emphasizing this point, that this is the last will and testament of Jesus Christ, that we would receive the forgiveness of sins through his supper. And what a great and blessed promise that is. Well, anyway, that's what I wanted to share with you. I don't want to take too much more of your time this Wednesday. I look forward to sharing with you this Sunday from the Gospel of John. And I look forward to being able to be reunited with you in worship here soon, Lord willing. All right, have a blessed day. Take care.